Alright, welcome to the Buff Up Show. It's our PC gaming show. I am joined by the one and only Aaron Sullivan.
Fusradar!
That's console game, alright? We don't talk about console games on this show. Alright, in all fairness, it is a PC game as well. So how are you, sir? How are you? Are you glad to be on the Buff Up Show? Are you glad we're finally doing this?
I am. I've had a very knackering day, but I'm pleased to be here, man.
That's good.
I love your voice of an angel. It's beautiful.
Alright, we'll kick things off, as we are always going to kick things off with the Buff Up Show. I'm going to ask you, sir, why are you happy to be a PC gamer?
This week, I have to go with Swatter, because of the early release. I got my email just like 5 minutes ago, so I'm happy to be in the early release. I'm happy that we've finally got an MMO which is truly story driven. No more reading of quest text unless you truly want to read subtitles. And I'm hoping it will be as epic as they've made out.
Alright, good stuff. Well, I'm your host, Ariel Abrahami, and I'm glad to be a PC gamer because Batman Arkham City finally got patched on the PC, so we can use the DirectX 11 goodies. And that game looks amazing. I was playing it earlier in 3D and with the DirectX physics set up to maximum, and I was getting about 20 frames on my NVIDIA 580, so I'm going to have to scale it back a bit. But I'm definitely glad they fixed it, and now I can play the game with DirectX 11.
Does it look as beautiful as it should do?
It looks absolutely stunning.
I know you don't have any frame of reference because you haven't played the.
Well, I've played the on-live version, so.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
Yeah. Well, I should say I've seen the on-live. I haven't actually played it. I've seen other people play it. Anyway, we shall move on with the show, and something that's very PC, although it's moving to consoles. It's the Counter-Strike Go beta. Now, you've been in the beta, Mr. Sullivan. How have you found it so far? You used to play a lot of Counter-Strike back in the day. Does it live up to 1.6? Is it better than Source?
Yeah, so like the whole shooting parabola thing, like the spray of the bullets and whatnot, they've brought back. Like I just tested it right now, and the AK-47 bullets go everywhere. I was like burst firing, and like the bullets were not going anywhere near the reticle. So it's definitely like 1.6 in that fashion. But they've obviously upped the graphics, and with that comes like a new feel. It doesn't feel as tight and as fluid as 1.6, but I'm sure with a lot of practice you can become just as good. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the cross-platform section of it. If they actually if there's going to be specific rooms or servers dedicated to cross-platform, because obviously console gamers are going to get the shit pwned out of them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll do that so you get a choice. So the console gamers will at least get a chance to experience and not be put off by being pwned by awesome PC gamers.
Alright, good stuff. So they've obviously updated the graphics a little bit. It's still going to run on most mid-range gaming PCs, though.
It's still the Source engine.
Yeah.
It does look pretty nice. As I said, it kind of detracts away from the fluidity of the game, because it's everything seems a lot bigger. It's not like the original Counter-Strike was quite small, unless you were pro and you were playing it by a low resolution and aiming for headshots and stuff. But if you were going for the maximum beauty and putting on a high resolution, it's quite a small looking game. Like your character looked quite small when you were looking at it from a third person perspective. Everything looks big. Like your gun takes up a huge chunk of the screen, and so does your hand. I'm not sure I'm feeling that. What do you reckon of the situation?
Well, I haven't played a lot of Counter-Strike in the past, so I just got on it. It was nice to experience a game with slightly different shooting mechanics. Every shooter these days seems to have you zoom into the iron sights, and you just start spraying. Obviously, Counter-Strike is a completely different beast. So I don't know. But I think the big question is: do you think the pros are going to switch over, because they're still on 1.6, aren't they?
I think nostalgia plays. I mean, don't get me wrong, 1.6 is an amazing game, and I actually agree that Source doesn't live up to 1.6. But I think there's a lot of nostalgia around 1.6, as there is with any game, and that might keep people still playing 1.6. But a lot of the pros had their say in the development. They got their opinions and changed things based on what the larger pros in the industry were saying. So hopefully it will be just as big as an esport as it always was, and bring back Counter Strike to the main arena.
All right. Well, obviously it's still in beta, so we'll see. We've only had one map as well, so we'll see. We'll see how they improve things, and obviously everything is subject to change. All right. So moving on to our next topic, moving to the MMO corner, as it were. World of Warcraft patch 4.3. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it is the Deathwing patch. It is the staple patch of the Cataclysm expansion. First of all, have you seen the trailer? And
I have seen the trailer. It looks fucking awesome.
It kind of looks awesome with the sound off, which is what we're showing you now. But people complained that there was like no real voiceover, and that there was a bit of QQ about this patch. But I don't know if you've heard about the stuff they've added. They've obviously added this new raid, and they've put it in 2 parts. And they've also added this raid finder, where anyone who's got a good enough gear can queue up and just join this raid, and it's a super easy mode version of the raid. I mean, I queued up last night. I just managed to get some gear last night, and I queued up for this raid finder. 10-minute wait. I got ported in, and we downed 4 bosses straight away. It was insane. And then we downed Deathwing.
But isn't this what? You down Deathwing?
I downed Deathwing. Yeah, literally, they split into 2, so you have to do the first dungeon first. So I killed 4 bosses in there. I then queued up for the next one, and the raid I joined, they were already at Deathwing. So I ported in, and this is the second. There's 2 Deathwing fights. It was the second Deathwing fight. This is the last fight of this patch, and some guy. I asked the tank. I'm like, dude, what do I do here? Because obviously I queued as a tank. And he's like, oh yeah, just tank this thing, and when this debuff is applied, I'll taunt off you. And I was like, okay, cool. And obviously having like 5 years of raid experience, I knew when to pop cooldowns. I saw, oh, this is his big damage ability. This is when I'm taking this damage, and so on. And it was so easy because they made it easy. They've made it suitable for pugs, and obviously he doesn't drop the same loot. But I don't know. You've always been someone that's teetered around raiding. Would you play more if it was more accessible like this?
No, that sounds quite poor. And as you know me, I'm quite the elitist. And although I wasn't a huge raider back in the day, the fact that they've taken all the challenge out of it kind of eliminates the purpose of playing. The idea is to overcome strife with a bunch of people you enjoy playing with.
Well, yes.
It understands that. I could just go in a raid with any random person.
Well,
like, oh, yeah.
Well, if you want to experience the content, if you just want to experience the content, and you don't want to sign up to a raiding guild, and you don't want to raid 2 to 5 times a week and have to be there at a certain time and collect gear. I mean, this is ideal, but I spoke to some old raiding friends last night, and they're still raiding in guilds. They're still doing the normal and the heroic modes of this dungeon, which is obviously a lot harder. And obviously the challenge is still there for them. But for someone like me, I haven't played WoW for months, and literally I saw this trailer, and I thought, right, I want to try this. So I've done most of the content now, and I can say goodbye to WoW now for X amount of months. I don't have to resub. I've just experienced the content.
Yes, but it kind of sounds like it's an easy route into the actual hard raid, the heroic version, I'm presuming it's called.
Well, there are 3 difficulties now.
Surely you got good enough gear that now you could, if you really wanted to, you could go into the heroic version.
Well, no, they've got 3 versions. They've got the looking for raid version.
Okay.
They've got the normal version, and then they've got heroic. Now, the looking for raid version is very unique because I had a debuff on me yesterday, and I read the debuff, and it says, if this is dispelled, you take X amount of damage. Does not have an effect in LFR, which is looking for raid. So they've dumbed it down so much, just so people can see the content. And the gear is level 390, which is, I believe, 398 is the stuff you get in normal mode. So it's not the best gear.
Okay.
And
maybe it's just me personally, but I feel it kind of takes away from the experience. Yeah, you got to experience the end game content, but you didn't have to go through any strife to get there.
Right.
That dumbs the satisfaction you get when you actually do it.
Yes, it does. But as a raider, as a player, I'm not going to be raiding again. I'm not going to be joining a guild. I'm not going to be dedicating 3 or 4 nights a week to this game anymore.
That's what you say now.
That's what I say now. But we got Star Wars coming up, and we're going to talk about that because that's our main topic today. But just a few things to mention. They've also got 3 new heroics, which are pretty cool. You get to see Illidan back in the Well of Eternity. You get to go back and get the Dragon Soul. There's another one where you fight alongside Thrall, and there's another one where you go and you have to fight against Jaina Proudmoore and against a bunch of heroic characters in Azeroth. Another feature to quickly mention is the transmogrification. It is you can basically get your old gear and put the looks of that old gear onto your new gear. So you can change the look of your gear. So if you get one item that looks awesome but has rubbish stats, you can actually put that look on the awesome gear that has awesome stats.
Yeah, so everybody's going to be running around in tier 2 or...
well, you say that, but they're not.
And tier 6.
Well, I'm running around... I haven't seen anyone else in tier 6 apart from myself. I'm running around in tier 6. I mean, there's so much gear in the game now. Like, people are role-playing now. You can see people, like, wearing... I saw one guy in the auction house the other day, and he had some, like, Alliance guard gear, and he was in the Horde auction house. He'd obviously transmogrified some of that stuff over into his normal gear, but it looked pretty funny. I mean, before, when you ported into a dungeon, you could look around and instantly know how good everyone was geared. It's like, oh yeah, he's wearing this tier, he's wearing that tier. Okay, cool. Now it's like, what the hell are you wearing? You have to actually inspect them and see what they're wearing. So yeah, it's a bit troublesome, but it's cool. People look somewhat unique now in the world of Warcraft, which is something they've never had.
Unique to a certain extent. There's still only a certain amount of skins to be had, so eventually you're going to come across people who are wearing the same gear as you, and people generally gravitate to what looks awesome. So like tier 2 and tier 6 if you're a paladin, and other stuff if you're something else. So yeah, it's interesting. Overall, I don't think WoW are doing anything new anymore. I think it's a rejumble and rearrangement of already existing mechanics done in a different order for the boss fights. You've just done it, so can you tell me differently?
Correct. Well, to be honest, the mechanics were so dumbed down, it all felt like tank and spank. But I could see there were mechanics there, and there were DPS races there, and there's a cool fight in the Eye of Eternity where you get different phases, you get adds, and you have to kite them round and set off some lightning beams, and it's a bit different, but it wasn't challenging at all, so you can't really take too much from the mechanics of the fight. Anyway.
Well, I'm going to say that WoW has become really casual, and the hardcore MMO fans will probably say WoW has always been casual, but now it's super duper casual.
But it has the option to be super duper casual.
Yeah. So we'll see what Blizzard does next. It'll be interesting.
Indeed we will. All right. Quickly hitting on a topic. A beautiful game is Trine 2. This is a 2D platformer with a bit of a difference, where you have one character essentially that can morph into 3 different characters and have different abilities. You also have co-op. I know you didn't play the first one, but the first one looked awesome, didn't it?
It did look awesome.
And I'm sure you've had a chance to look at the trailer for the second one.
And it still looks awesome.
It still looks awesome.
I might actually play it this time.
This game isn't even resource heavy because it's a 2D. Well, it's a 3D game but built on a 2D plane, and it's coming out for consoles, I believe, this week. So it looks pretty good.
Full release or DLC or?
That's a good question. I can tell you with the PC version, they announced it on December the 6th. They said, right, this game's coming out December 7th. And it was immediately available on Steam the next day for $11.99 for the standard edition, and I think it was $17.99 for the collectors. But I went ahead and ordered the physical copy of this game because... the physical collector's edition, because I wanted the art book, and I wanted the physical edition comes with.
For those who don't know, Ariel, this is a big deal for him.
I don't normally buy physical copies. I normally download.
You're the advocate of downloadable.
Well, yes, because this game is available on Steam now. I ordered my copy, and the retailers aren't sending them out until this Friday, December the 16th. But the reason I want this boxed copy is because it comes with an art book, and it comes with some tangible physical assets, as it were.
Amazing.
So I am going for it. It also comes with the original game as well if you get the collector's edition. And it's only $14.99 from most retailers. I know it retails a bit more. The RRP is a bit more, the recommended price. But I know you can get it for £15. So yeah, you should definitely check it out. It's a very different sort of puzzler.
Awesome.
Moving things back slightly to the esports corner, where we had Counter Strike. Dreamhack. This is my first Dreamhack ever. It's a crazy LAN party where esports is supreme. Now you're a big Street Fighter fan, obviously, and you got me watching. Was it Evo?
Were you watching it? Yes, you were.
I was watching it. And that's the big fighting sort of esports event. But Dreamhack is more of a. Oh, Dreamhack has a multitude of esports, but obviously StarCraft, as you can see.
Let's call it what it is. It's StarCraft Central.
But StarCraft, if I'm not mistaken, StarCraft is like the number one esport at the moment.
When did it stop being number
Well,
one esport?
well, I can only talk about it right now, and right now I think it is the number one esport. Obviously, the finals were held in the big Dream Arena. I was there. It was pretty amazing, the whole Dream Arena thing. And they actually scheduled the Street Fighter finals to be in between two StarCraft matches, and there was a bit of controversy on Shoryuken.com. Apparently, some of the StarCraft fans in the stream were not too happy about Street Fighter being streamed on their channel.
Deal with it, bitches. All right. There are other games other than good old StarCraft.
Yeah, I think the Street Fighter community weren't too happy either, because they were sort of shoved in a corner in one of the halls, and it was quite dark, and like all the other esports, all the PC esports were sort of lined up and they had lighting. So I don't know. I saw Ryan Hart there anyway, who is the British champion, I believe, and he was commentating and he got to the final, but he lost to Infiltration, the Korean player. So the Koreans reign supreme at DreamHack. They won the StarCraft and the Street Fighter.
Those bloody Koreans. Yeah, they're pretty amazing. Did you get to face anybody while you were over there, or did you keep to yourself?
I kept to myself because I'm terrible at all esports.
Really? I heard you are quite the hand at StarCraft.
No, I'm not.
How do you like to push those Marines all over the place?
I do like to. I do
like
to flood the screen with Marines. It doesn't make me good.
Awesome.
I think we should move on before. Yeah, I think we should move on. Okay, so our main topic, it has come out today for its very early access. We played hours and hours during the beta. You can see all our coverage on Buff Up TV, which is youtube.com/BuffUpTV, and it is Star Wars: The Old Republic. Aaron, what do you love about this MMO?
The agent. I think the agent's got the best storyline. I know people are going to disagree with me, but I found the other class I played was the Inquisitor, and I found their story really boring because you start off as a slave, and from the get-go you don't feel awesome. You feel like scum, basically, and they send you around doing the typical MMO quest: kill 10 of these, go here, collect that, kill 10 of that, and there's no awesome story to keep you in that moment. So you really feel like you're just playing another MMO. Whereas the Imperial Agent had you like deceiving huts and like playing them off against each other and trying to get them over to the Imperial side, which was pretty darn awesome. You felt kind of awesome from the start, which I think they did really well. I did think that the class was very roguish. If you were going to compare it to any like WoW class, you had two options basically. You had your DPS, pure DPS, which was the sharpshooter class, which kind of they're kind of like the glass cannon, so they're kind of mage-ish. And then you had the operative, which is a very weird class, which allows you to do healing in one tree. And then you've got kind of like the poison tree, and then you've got your shiv, backstab, stealth around kind of tree. So it's like a rogue that can do a bit of healing, so maybe more like a druid in that case. But yeah, they're pretty fun class. What did you get up to?
Well, if you're watching the stream, you can see I got up to the Trooper. I played a lot of Sith Inquisitor. I played some Bounty Hunter. That was before the NDA lifted, so no footage of that is available. I also played up to level 10 with the Sith Warrior. I think that's it. Oh, I played some Jedi Knight back in February. when the game first came out for beta. So that was really rough. I don't know. The criticism of this game is basically people saying it's World of Warcraft with story. They haven't innovated at all. What would you say to those people?
You see, I know a lot of people hate the cover system, but I actually found it fun purely because it was different. See, like you can't have it both ways as far as I'm concerned. They've done something new with the cover system, and if you're going to slate them for that because it's new and different and doesn't fit into every conventional MMO archetype you've ever played, then you can't complain that the rest of the game is too samey as every other MMO.
Well,
you get what I'm saying?
The cover system which you're referring to is used by the smuggler and the agent.
Yeah.
Gives them cover, and it allows them to nuke with abilities, and it also gives them a slight defensive buff.
And it's actually useful against, like, because you know the Maraud opponent's face and their force leap, which is basically a charge. You can't be charged while you're in the smuggler Imperial agent cover, so there's a bit of tactical play there. So it will be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what the balancing is like for PvP. I know you did a few rounds of hot ball and some other stuff. How did you feel about that?
Well, the PvP, they had three. I'm going to call them. I'm not sure what they're called, like the battlegrounds or the war zones, as they're supposed to be called. They have hot ball. They have. They have the Void Star. I think it's the Void Star where you have the attack and defense, and you also have. It wasn't called Civil War. The map I was on was called Civil War, but I think it was Alderaan, where you have the ships with the turrets, and you have the 3 capture points. The problem I found with Hut Ball, the Hut Ball is not a faction game. So my main problem with queuing was that you could queue up and you would join, like you'd have Republic and Empire on the same side, and Hut Ball constantly popped because there was an imbalance. There was more Empire than Republic on my server. So there were not enough Republic players to play the other modes. So Hut Ball kept popping and you could not select a specific war zone.
Okay.
So Hut Ball kept on popping because it was like Imperial versus Imperial. Whereas you couldn't get Imperial.
But that's not too much a problem if Hut Ball is actually good.
Well, Hut Ball is good, but Hut Ball is a team game. Hut Ball is not about killing. Hut Ball is about navigating this treacherous arena to get the Hut Ball and to get it to the end zone, a bit like American football. Now, obviously, there are a number of things in your way, like there's heat, there's acid pits, there's even random jumps, but you have this really cool mechanic with the fact that you can take the Hut Ball, and as long as you're not incapacitated, you can throw it. Now, you can throw it to a friend, and that ball can be intercepted if an opponent is in your way. Now, whenever I got the ball, I would run, and I would instantly look for my options. I was like, where are my runners? Who can I pass to? Can we do a 1-2 little move? A bit like, in any sport with a ball. And I would pass it, and then I just wouldn't get it back, or people don't know what they were doing. Obviously, it's beta. But, people were selfish, and I think this is one, other war zones, you can just jump in. It's like, okay, we need to stand here, we need to kill shit. Whereas Hut Ball was like, no, you need to get this ball from one end to the other. And there are different platforms in this arena, so you can throw it up. So, like, you can have, like, the whole team humping you for the ball, and you can see, oh, look, my mate's standing up there, I'm going to throw it to him, and he's away. He's gone. He's going to score. So it was very frustrating. I was like, right, just move there and I'll pass to you, or pass to me. I'm in the clear. But people wouldn't do it.
For those who don't know, how does the pass mechanic actually work?
It comes up as a skill on your bar, and once you click it, you have a little area of effect ability, which you can. It has a certain range, but when you throw it to someone, you need to place this area of effect little icon onto your friend in the 3D world, and you need to try and. Your friend needs to be standing within that circle to receive it, and obviously if there is an opponent standing between you and your friend, they can intercept.
And do they have to press anything, or is it an automatic?
No, it's automatic catch. Automatic catch. It's all about the thrower, and if the thrower's stunned, they can't throw it, so crowd control comes into play. But yeah, Hut Ball. So yeah, Hut Ball it's good. It could be a really good war zone, but you want to go in with friends.
Interesting. And the other flashpoints, how was the balancing? Like,
well,
did you find you get owned by a certain class, or?
Well, Well, no, I was now the problem is they had a really dodgy balancing system. Basically, anyone of any level could come in. So you had level 50s in there, but what they did was they upgraded everyone's stats to level 50. But
Okay, that's
but
cool.
obviously the level 50 guy has a full talent tree and he has more ability, so he has more utility than you. So even
Yeah.
even if you can pull the same DPS as him because you've got a rotation going, he's got more utility. He can break out of stuff. He can stun you more. Um, so that's where I felt it, and it was hard to judge balance when you got a level 50 full of skills attacking a level, what was I, level 14.
So you must have had duels with like level 14 characters while you
Oh
were in
yeah, and
Valorant.
I did pwn them in the face because early on, this is well documented. The the range classes get their slows and CC at around level 10, level 12,
Okay.
whereas the melee get it at level 20. Now, obviously, the
Ah.
game is designed to be balanced at level 50, not at level 10 or level 20 or level 15. So
Yep.
obviously, there was some disparity throughout my playthrough. So it was hard to judge. Just touching on Void Star, that was the attack defense. It was a bit like Defense of the Ancients or Rush mode in Battlefield. You had to break through these defenses and plant a bomb, and each team had a go at being the attacker and the defender, and whoever got the furthest, the quickest, as the attackers would win.
Cool.
So that was pretty cool. And I think it's the Alderaan Warzone is where they have is where they have these cannons, and you have to control these 3 points, and the 3 points activate these cannons. And obviously, you're DPSing these big motherships, as they were. Big fleet ships, and whoever DPS them quickest wins. And obviously, to DPS them, you've got to control these points. That seemed pretty balanced because there was no, normally in these capture point games, there's normally a home base and an away base and a middle
Yeah.
base. All the bases were in the middle.
What?
They're all so basically, your spawn point. If you ran to the middle from the spawn point, you'd run to the first base, which is right in the middle, and then the right and left of that, there were the two others, so they were parallel. They were all parallel in the middle of the war zone.
So doesn't that create a massive gangbang in?
No, because the war zone's got a very good width, but no spawn point was closest to one base. So in Arathi Basin in World of Warcraft, like the farm and the stables are like, the stables is the Alliance and the farm is the Horde.
Yeah.
There is no thing where like this one's closest to us. They're all equal distance.
Ah, okay.
So they're all pretty much neutral capture points. So I thought okay, that's pretty cool. There's only 3 capture points. You can do that. I really enjoyed that one. That was my favourite. I only did it twice though.
Cool.
But I don't know. It's going to be hard. I want to get to level 50 and try out and see how balanced it is then. I'd
And,
imagine it won't be balanced.
Obviously, story is the mainstay of this game. How does that feed into the PvP experience? Did you find it was repetitive, seeing the same old cutscene every time you enter the PvP arena, or was that not available in the?
Well, the
what you
hub
played?
didn't have a cutscene, but before you could get out into the arena, you'd have an announcer saying, "Oh, you're here for someone the hut," and salute him or blah blah blah. And it just felt like a sports game, and it didn't feel too repetitive because I can imagine similar things are said at sports grounds around the world before each match. So that didn't feel too repetitive. With the Alderaan Warzone, you basically have a little cutscene at the end to show you blowing up the ship, just to show who the victor is, and like, look, you actually did something tangible. You actually killed something here. I don't know. There wasn't too much cutscene or story in it. It was kind of like, I think people that like to PvP and don't care about story will be fine with it.
Cool. Do you think these battlegrounds will keep people interested long enough for them to come up with an arena and balance it for? I'm presuming there will be an arena at some point because no MMO is complete without one.
Well, you say that, but WoW didn't have an arena for years, and now all of a sudden every MMO must have some sort of arena. I don't know. It brings us to another topic, really. With is Star Wars: The Old Republic the finished article? It certainly isn't, because they've announced that they have a full-time development team working on guild features. So this game is, I wouldn't say lacking so much. This game has so much more to offer in the coming months, and I think people might say that they're shortchanging us. this content should be in from the off. We're paying for a beta test.
I think people who say that are very naive. This is the way MMOs are developed. Well, it might not necessarily be the right way, but due to the massive content that needs to be put into an MMO, none of them ship with everything in the box. You normally have to wait for a couple of months. Look at Age of Conan. That came very bare bones.
Yeah, but Age of Conan is the bad example, though. That's the bad example where it came with nothing and like.
Even WoW, like the PvP options, like in vanilla, weren't great, were they? They
well, yeah, but WoW was made 7 years ago. The standards. The thing is, with each expansion pack that WoW has, each aspirational MMO coming out has to try and match that in some way, or at least be unique. And I think the problem with Star Wars is the combat is not really unique. The progression path is not really unique. You know, you got these dungeons and you got these PvP things. So I don't know. I think there's enough there at launch. I think there's enough to tide them over for a month or two. I think the super hardcore MMO players are going to get in there and destroy the content quite quickly.
Do we have a figure for the amount of flashpoints that will be available for endgame players?
Well, I was looking earlier. I saw about 4 or 5 4-man flashpoints. I'm not sure about how many raids there are. They use another term for raids, of course, which I forget right now. But the bigger flashpoints, as it were. There are a few of those. But I think you and me, the average MMO player, will be okay for a few months.
Yeah.
I think after that, I'm not sure.
It will be interesting to see how they fare with Diablo on the horizon. And yes, we know Diablo isn't an actual MMO, but we are promised amazing PvP.
Indeed, we are.
And it'd be interesting to see how Star Wars fares in that fashion.
Well,
we're all about the PvP here. We love our PvE. It's all about.
We do. Yeah. We love our PvP, but we're just not good at it. But we still love it. I don't know. We're obviously entering the MMO era, the free-to-play MMO. We've got lots of good free-to-play games coming out. We've got Guild Wars 2 coming out, which is you pay a one-off fee and you buy the game, and then you've got this MMO, which is subscription-free. So, are you willing to pay for this game each month?
It depends on. Well, it sounds like they're not gonna pull the wool from under our eyes and be like, we're not developing any new content for this for a while. It seems like they're constantly on the case, and I'd expect no less from BioWare. I expect new content updates on a fairly regular basis, and if that happens, I'll quite happily invest quite a chunk of time into this game. I'm also interested in finding out what Guild Wars has to offer, because like the PvP in that game is amazing. We played at Eurogamer, and it's just like so free flowing and different from what we're used to.
Indeed, it's got that sort of real time combat. Well, not real time combat. It's got like skillful combat. Is how they like. If he attacks you, you can dodge. You can dodge that attack by pressing spacebar or something. And he said it's got that story choice as well. You're going to have branching paths about your story, and each character is going to have a different progression path. I don't know. I think the big thing about Star Wars is it's got this BioWare Mass Effect style conversation system, and obviously the main class missions are quite exciting, and there are chapters in the game, so each chapter will end with a pretty epic quest, and you get this epic story. But what happens when the story runs out? It's kind of like a marriage. Like what happens when the honeymoon's over?
Will it run out?
Well, the story will run out, obviously, because they can only write so much, and they've recorded all this voice work.
The Star Wars universe is so vast.
Yeah, but
they can always plot more content.
They haven't shipped with unlimited story and unlimited voice acting. It will run out for your class. Obviously, you can go and you can play another class, and you can experience another X amount of hours of story and voice dialogue. But it brings me to another point here. Is with the class system, there are only 4 homeworlds. So I've played all the homeworlds. I'm pretty bored of all the homeworlds. There is only 2 second worlds. And when I say second worlds, I mean when you progress and you graduate from your original world, you go to Drum Cuss if you are Empire, or you go to Coruscant if you're for the Republic. And feedback from the beta is that people are really bored of these areas. Obviously, past that, the areas do branch out a little bit with Hoth and Tatooine many more to name. But I mean, would you want to play another character again just for the story? But you got to experience the same sort of gameplay.
Uh, See, you say same gameplay, but the Imperial Agent feels nothing like the Inquisitor, for example.
But you're essentially doing the same missions, bar the class missions you get later on. You still need these side quests to supplement your XP. You need to be going with that good leveling curve. You don't want to be behind the curve. You want to be right on it.
Then you put faith in the fact that they'll make these the end content challenging, and you won't just be able to roll in there with the gear you've been leveling with. You'll have to, like how WoW used to be, you'll have to go and farm certain places to get good enough gear, and that will keep people tided over. Like progression always, that kind of progression, like the feeling of achievement always keeps people coming back. It's like a drug, and if they get that right, then they'll be successful.
All right, it'll be interesting to see, because most people from the beta played during the beta weekend and they didn't get a chance to reach level 50. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to. Well, you've actually got early access. They announced early access was coming 2 days early, so it starts today when we're recording this, December the 13th. And basically, if you pre-ordered on the first pre-order day, you've basically got in already. So you're in, aren't you? Because you pre-ordered on, I don't know when you pre-ordered. You pre-ordered on the day.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But yeah, I'm in, and I'm a little disappointed. Obviously, there was the texture issue, and they weren't using full high-res textures in the beta build. I whacked them on, and it still seems like they're not using the full high-definition textures. I'm not sure if that will come with a proper release on December the 20th. I'm hoping it will.
Maybe you need to reinstall if you had the beta client. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a bit worrying. And I was also hoping for a few more customization options. It's very limited.
The character creation you're talking about here.
People complain about Skyrim and the limits with that. This is worse by far. There's really no options. Like, yeah, it's a bit disappointing. You're gonna run into a lot of characters that look like you. My other issue is that the PvP armor and armor in general looks quite tacky. Hopefully, they can improve upon the design.
Yeah, we were in that starship, looking at all the vendors, and we're looking like, oh, what can we get when we reach max level? And it's kind of like, that doesn't look too good.
Yeah. Well, generally, the first set of gear isn't pretty anyway. But you know, if you're trying to capture an audience, you know, at least make people feel. It comes back to the when I was mentioned before, going into a game and feeling like a badass, even if you're not particularly well equipped at that time, you still want to feel like, oh yeah, I'm the hero of this little saga. Yeah, the armor that's there doesn't make you feel like that. You look like shit. It's pretty low res, tacky designs. Hopefully they'll improve that. Excuse me. Hopefully they'll improve that soon, and PvP will be good.
All right. Well, I'm sure it's a topic we'll come back to, maybe on a weekly basis. But we'll watch this one very closely, and you know, we look forward to sinking our teeth into the full release. Just going to ask you a question now: is Star Wars: The Old Republic going to be a complete success?
You know what? Purely because it's BioWare, I have faith in everything these guys do. I'm gonna say yes. I know you're not a big BioWare fan.
Oh, I am. I like their games. Don't get me wrong. I loved Origins. Dragon Age 2 was pretty average, or just above average. And whilst I don't come all over Mass Effect, I appreciate it for the good game it is. So yeah, I think I'll definitely play this to max level.
As long as they don't do a Dragon Age 2, where they try and appeal to a new audience and end up alienating the audience they had already captured, kind of thing.
Well,
they don't alienate the hardcore MMO Star Wars fan who is going to be first on the bandwagon, who's already pre-ordered, who's already in the game right now playing, in an attempt to capture a new, broader, casual audience. I think that would be a mistake, and I think they learned from their mistake with their Dragon Age 2. So, yeah, I don't think they'll repeat that. But
so you're giving it the thumbs up?
I'm going to give it the thumbs up.
You heard it here first, everyone. Aaron Sullivan is giving Star Wars: The Old Republic the thumbs up. All right, amazing, fantastic. Yeah, so that's it, guys. That has been our first episode of the Buff Up Show, our first episode with video. You can contact us. You can contact us via Twitter. You can contact me at Ariel Abrahami. You can contact him at AJR Sullivan, and you can get us at the at official NGB, which is the Next Gen Gaming blog. All of our episodes are going to be uploaded to NGB, the Next Gen Gaming blog, where you'll see articles. You can comment in the articles there. You can also get it on the official NGB YouTube channel, youtube.com/Next Gen Gaming blog. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you picked us up on the audio archive, we really want your feedback. So if you can leave it in the comments or you can tweet us, we'd really appreciate it. But that has been the first episode of the Buff Up Show. Thank you for joining me, Aaron.
Why, thank you too. It's been a pleasure to listen to your angelic voice. All right, angelic.
All right, dude. Well, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.